What's up, guys? I'm back like I never left. In this video, we're going to be talking about the stock market. Are you going to have a stock market crash or pullback for the coming days or weeks? I'm going to go over in detail what are the top stocks we need to pay attention to for potential buy the dip opportunity. I'm going to go over another important economic report that can potentially affect the stock market for tomorrow, guys. So make sure you stay tuned. Now let's get right into the video. Alright, guys, so as you can see over here, we have a really big sell-off that happened today. Yesterday was actually one of the best days in the stock market that happened in the past month. We had a really phenomenal rally to the upside, and today it just turns out to be the opposite. As you can see, we got Microsoft, Apple down 8%, Facebook, Google, Amazon, all of the sectors eventually participated to go to the downside to sell off. And this was really up and coming, especially the VIX was also rising simultaneously while the overall market was turning to the upside. That was a really interesting that happened, because usually if the stock market goes up, the VIX goes down the downside, but the VIX was also going up while the stock market was going to the upside too. So that was an indication that something like this was eventually about to happen, and today was the day that all of the stocks eventually sold off to the downside. We have relatively companies that were really rallying to the upside, like Nvidia, down close to 10%, and we have also other companies that are relatively close to down 10%. But we also can find other companies that were relatively strong when these overall markets were selling to the downside. Believe it or not, we got the Royal Caribbean that was actually slightly up. Carnival Cruise up 5.21%. So we have a few companies that had a really relatively good day. So that is when you see that the sector rotation happening and people are actually buying into these companies for the future. So even though these huge giant companies are way extended to the upside, these companies that we talked about in the past, they're relatively still down overall for the year, and they still have a long way to go to catch up to the overall market. We recently hit like all-time highs like every single day for the past few weeks, but these companies really have a long way to catch up with the overall market trend. So that's why you can see them trending to the upside, guys. So now let's talk about what can we do, and is it a great dip buying opportunity? Because the majority of the stocks that we've been watching for the past few days, for the past few weeks, they also provided a really great dip buying opportunity. As you can see over here, we got Hyliion stock is down to $50, and after hours it's also down 7.57%. So you're looking at a 16% drop within one day. So the price point that we're looking at it, of course, if the stock really stays above $40 area, that is still going to be in the upward trend. But however, how the stock is going to behave in the next coming days. So we talked about yesterday a company which is Hyliion Holdings, which is going to be doing a merger with Golden Nugget. So as you can see today, it's relatively strong. The overall market was straight to the downside. This company also hit all-time highs, and it broke out a little bit, but it pulled back. Every company recently, when the market opened, were actually rallying up, a little up, but we started to sell off to the downside. So that is quite interesting. So Hyliion was up today, so that's good to see that there is relative strength in that company. And we also talked about yesterday, Tesla stock, if it was a good opportunity to get involved in it, if it pulls back all the way to $400, as you can see over here today, it's pulling back all the way down to, after hours, it's down to $380. So that is a great opportunity, because we were expecting maybe if it could pull back to $400, that'll be a great time to get involved in it. But now, after hours, it's currently at $380. So if you're somebody that wants to get involved in this company, there's a potential catalyst coming up pretty soon, September 22. So that's great. It's a great opportunity to buy the dip if you believe the stock is going to go to the upside too. So we also have Apple stock, which is really pulling back to the downside today. Yesterday also it had a really slight pullback. As you can see, after it hit that high over there, it went down, and today it's also down 8% to the downside. And after hours, it's also down minus 3.05%. So now it's edging closer to that $100 mark over here if it continues this trend to the downside. So we never know what might happen in the next few days, but what we can do is really prepare and understand that these pullbacks are expected to happen, because we are super extended to the upside. In the short term, we're just hitting all-time highs, and also the VIX was also going up simultaneously. We also have election days coming pretty soon. So I made a video about it a few weeks ago. So the market can be volatile. Expect a move like this to happen. So if you're somebody that wants to take advantage of it, really be cautious about when you're eventually going to decide to buy the dip, when you're going to decide to add into your positions, because this might have a continuation to the downside a little bit. All we have to do is just like wait for it and understand that things might actually be going to the downside more before we recover to the upside. So still, these are going to be the 3 top stocks that we talked about yesterday. We also have Workhorse stock, as you can see, still in the range. So the $15 area is where we're looking at it, and the stock is really trending to the upside. It's still consolidating over here. So we'll see what can potentially happen if it pulls back to the $15 area within the next few days. I believe it's not going to pull back to that low, but still, it's a great opportunity to get involved in it because it's really have a solid support. It's just consolidating here, and the stock can eventually break out in the future. So that is also the company that we need to pay attention to in the short term to you guys. So we also have another company that's going to be doing a reverse merger to take a company public. So the company name is Kingston Capital. That's going to be KCAC is the main shell company, and they're going to be taking QuantumScape to go public. So QuantumScape is a battery company connected to Volkswagen, and it seeks to create solid state batteries for Volkswagen and other car companies. So that is really interesting, guys. So there's a lot of companies that are taking advantage of this reverse merger and combining with shell companies, and that is fantastic to see them go publicly and have the opportunity to really change the EV market. These companies are really taking advantage of following the lead of Nikola stock, how Nikola went public. So there's a lot of companies that are doing the same thing, especially with the EV sector. So we definitely keep an eye on it. As you can see today, this company rose up significantly to the upside. It's up like 87.4% to the upside. So that is insane, guys. So hope you have a solid plan, guys, when these market volatility happens. So now let's talk about what are the important economic reports that can potentially affect the stock market too for tomorrow, guys. So we have tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. we got the non-farm payrolls. It's going to be for the month of August. The previous was 1.76 million, and the forecast is 1.2 million. We also have at 8:30 a.m. we got unemployment rate. This is going to be for the month of August. The previous was 10.2%, and the forecast is 9.8%. At 8:30 a.m. we got the average hourly earnings. It's going to be for the month of August. The previous was 0.2%. And the forecast is 0.0%. So we'll definitely see if we're going to have a continuation like this. If we're going to have another day of sell-off, we'll see. But definitely have a plan and a solid, and definitely have a plan before you get involved in these companies, before you decide to buy the dip, before you buy an option and things like that, guys. So be super careful. But it's going to be in the video, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, make sure you drop in the comment section below. And if you want to join the Discord chat, sign up with Webull. There's going to be a link in the description box below. If you want to support the channel on Patreon too, there's a link available over there too, guys. But I'll catch you guys on tomorrow's video. Peace out.